Round one.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Arnell Dice Grinders. We have another shooter of the year rolling. It's Scott, Wattage, Live Craps. How's it going, Scott? I know you rushed home from work.
All right. My hair is something today.
Oh, yeah. Mine is too. All right. So, how you feeling? You good to go for your rolls?
I'm feeling anxious just because I rushed right from work and, didn't get any tossing time in the past few days, but it'll be fine. I'm advancing no matter what.
Yeah, you'll be okay. So, just try to still, I think the lowest roll is 3 and the highest roll is 30. So, I would still try to, beat the highest roll.
I'm aiming for a 4 or a 31.
Oh, there you go. All right. Looks like we got Mad Dogs out there. Says, let's go.
Yo, what's up?
Beam me up, Scotty. I know you play with him on his craps, his shows, and he plays on yours and stuff like that. So, yep. Check out Scott's channel, Wattage Live Craps, if you're not subscribed. Looks like Lisa 487's out there. Says good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Even got Chris Demon Dog. Welcome.
Chris. Thanks for the tosses this morning, Chris. He had some great rolls this morning. He rolled twice.
Oh, yeah. I think I watched his monster roll he had there, hitting a bunch of 5s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right.
I played the dark side on him. He kept knocking me off the point.
That's the problem of playing the dark side if they keep whacking you. That's why I don't like it. Or even put odds. That makes it worse for me. All right, we got a lightning shooter out there. Pops says good luck. Silver Fox.
Thank you.
Evening. Yep. Looks like a bunch of the shooters are waiting to watch your roll. You got Fuzzy out there. Greg says let's go Wattage. All right, nice. Lee Hook says hit it. All right, and the sheesh. I think we acknowledged everybody. Welcome. All right. As you know, this first round qualifier, you got 3 rolls, and the highest roll will determine, what your rank is for before going into the next round. All right, and last person out there, Brian, Crap and Camper, welcome.
What's up, Brian?
Okay, if we could get a couple dice sets out there for Scott to show us. All right, I'll put him out there, out front.
I'm using Jeff's dice that I won from Mid-Atlantic Crafts. We got matching serial numbers.
All right,
Crafts
nice.
Nation dice.
So Jay-Z Silver Fox Craps says 6456.
6456. Can you see those?
Yep, I can see them.
All right.
And then I think we already discussed you're going to move it in that O for the dice.
On
I guess
10.
you're zoomed in there. Yep, on the 10.
There. Over here.
Yep, looks good. Landing zone's pretty clear, so we can still see it. And if somebody else can give another dice set, we can get this started. I'll give them a minute to punch something in. All right, Lee Hook says 2332.
2, 3, 3, 2.
Yep. 2, 3, 3, 2. Perfect. All right. So whenever you're ready, you can start out your first roll. Let me go ahead and
All right.
reset the KPI here. All right. We are ready whenever you are.
All right. So since the first roll doesn't matter, I'll start with 2, 3, 3, 2. See what we get. And we got a roll extender right off the bat. 5, 2.
All right. 5, 2, 7. Confirmed. Natural.
All right. What was it? A 2, 2, 3, 3, 2?
2, 3,
Doesn't
3,
matter.
2.
I kind of like to take the pressure off on that first roll where it doesn't matter. Let my dice set breathe. And we got a 4, 5, 9.
All right. 4, 5. 9 confirmed. And that is your point.
And we got aces in both places. I did it.
Oh, yeah. Gotta put it by the 10. All right. Aces confirmed.
And there we go.
5, 2.
I did it. I said
All right.
431, didn't I? 5, 2.
All right. So your first roll was 4. Whenever you're ready to start the second roll. And looks like Sarge showed up.
What's up, Sarge?
Says, let's go, Wattage.
Thank you. All right. So I'm just gonna toss them out there. First roll. There we go. And we got a hard 8 to start with.
All right. 4, 4. Confirmed. And 8 is the point.
Hard 6.
All right. 3, 3. That's confirmed.
538. That's a point.
All right. 5-3. Frontline winner. Good job.
Three, 1, 4.
All right. 3-1 confirmed. Four is the point.
Five, 4, 9.
All right. 5-4 confirmed.
Hard 4. Point hit.
2-2. Hard 4 confirmed. Yeah. Frontline winner.
Midnight.
All right. 6-6.
Hit the back wall, sir. And we have aces once again. Another roll extender. See, that's the intent. Just throw random up there.
All right.
Unless I have a lot
1-1.
of ATS action, like one number, I won't set the dice on the come out. And we have a point. 6-2, 8.
6-2. Easy 8. 8's the point.
And there's a 4-2-6.
All right. 4-2. Sister number confirmed.
Ace deuce. Little sauce.
All right. 1, 2, 3 confirmed.
Decision time. Do we go for the 5? Not yet. Not yet. 437.
Oh, good roll, good roll. That one was
All right,
a 12
31
roller.
coming up.
So you got Toothpick Ted showed up. He's got his popcorn and says, "Let's get him." And Lucas, low roller craps. All right, you got one last roll.
Yep.
To beat
That
at
was
least
a 12
your.
roller?
Yep, that was a 12 roller.
Okay. 31 rolls coming right up.
All right. Lisa says, "Still at grocery store."
That is Mrs. Wattage. We got a hard 6.
All right, 3-3. 6 is the point.
Ooh, PSO. All right, you can get to that 31.
All right, so your third roll was 2. Good job, though. I think that's been happening with a lot of the shooters, is they've been getting like 1 or 2 short rolls and then getting the double digits.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it is what it is, right? We all do what we do. There's good days and bad days. So it's just I can attribute it to being anxious about getting here on time, or not rolling for the past few days, or not having a warm up, but it is what it is. It comes down to that.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I'm not. I made it through.
Yeah.
Woo!
So I noticed like some of those come out rolls, you would just pick it up and just throw it, like you said, like random. I do see some shooters do that, that also like set, like they'll just throw it, whatever. They don't care what it is on the come out. And then set, after
Right.
that.
I mean, like I only started doing that like in the past month because it takes some pressure off of me, I think, and like sometimes I feel like, oh, like as long as I don't have a lot like invested in the ATS and I'm not far along it, like there's no point, right? It's just like just relax for a little bit, you're not there's nothing else. And then for me, what I've been doing with that is I won in what's it called, Craps for the Cure. I bid on the Garrison's book and like his platinum crap strategy.
Yeah.
So I've been messing around with like some of his dice sets, and sometimes when I'm practicing, what I started doing is I started like trying to get specific points. So for me, it's fun because then I can explore a couple of different dice sets. Like the last 2 rolls that I did, the 6-4-6-5. That's not a regular dice set of mine. Like usually I like to throw with the 5-1-3-5. But what I'll do sometimes when I'm practicing by myself, or if I do my lives, like I'll toss it random and then I'll get a point and I'll say, well, let me try this dice set to see if I can get that point or see if I can build up the ATS. And then like if I'm missing one number or something on one leg of the ATS, like let's say it's an extreme aces or something, then I'll put a dice set out there for aces on the come out. Otherwise, like if nobody's losing anything and there's not that many numbers on the smaller tall, then I'll just toss random, like let the gas off a little bit, like just relax a little bit, so that way I can focus on my next roll and kind of have fun with it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's what I've been doing. That's why I just throw random, because then it almost becomes like a challenge. And would I have done that if there was like 33 people and I had to make it through on the top 32? no, I probably would have stayed with a consistent dice set. But I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Like this is just formalities going through the motions. So, but it for me, it's been more fun just like seeing like, okay, throw it random, and if you get a roll extender, then that's great in this thing, or you get the aces or the, like any of the extremes, and then you can really hone in on the box numbers on your tosses and change your dice set accordingly.
Yeah. Well, you're probably making some people that are at the table that don't believe in it and just pick it up. Uh, you're kind of like almost satisfying them also, like
Right.
for them to see you just pick it up and throw it. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, and we've all seen it where it's like, there's the drunk guy at the end of the table or the girl, and they're just like, picking up the dice and flinging them. And then next thing you know, they're like, you got 20 rolls and you made a ton of cash on them, or you didn't because you're like, look at this asshole, and then you're just, like you don't bet any money on them. You're like, oh, I missed out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the dice do what they do. I mean, I do believe in influence, but at the end of the day, they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah. It is the truth. You can't. There's no guarantees,
Yeah,
or else
I mean,
we
if
would
there
all be
were
rich.
right, exactly. Like, you got the channels where it's like, I mean, Chris this morning, like he had two great rolls. I think they may have both been, like 17 and 20, somewhere in the 20s or something like that. And he just had a great day. And like, yeah, you can line up the mechanics, but so far, like nothing's proven to be consistent where it's like every day you go out there, like it's just, it's all good days and bad days, and you can chalk it up to mechanics or the dice are too slippery or you just didn't have the right mood. And I do believe in all that stuff. Just remove the variables and just practice. Not everybody has the capability of practicing either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's fun. That's why we're all here, right? It's fun.
Yeah. That's why the whenever you pick up the dice, it's independent from any previous rolls. So
Right.
some people, they like to keep track and things like that, and I stopped doing that. Now I just kind of take a mental note, like in my head, is like if I'm using a specific dice set and taking note of what numbers it's hitting. But yeah, I don't keep track of my rolls like I used to, or how a lot of people do, like using a
Yeah,
bone
I mean,
tracker and stuff like that.
definitely did used to do that with Dice Tracker, but then I found like most of the time when I was practicing, it was mostly doing live. So then, I mean, like you're doing the lives, it's like you
Yep.
got your phone doing this thing and your computer doing this thing and this camera, so it's just too much. So what I did, the reason I got into my consistent set, which is a 5135, I was getting the best results with that. So I kind of created my own spreadsheet, and I would just notate it on an Excel sheet, and I would enter the numbers in, and it was getting good. But now it's like, now I kind of get bored because like, you PSO, and then you have, your next roll is like 30, and it's like, okay, well, what am I doing? So it made it more fun for me to try and manipulate the dice and set the dice for certain numbers that I wanted to achieve.
Sure.
So that's what I've just been doing recently, and it's been fun. It makes it more entertaining, and I think you also learn some good dice sets. Like the other night when I was playing, I think I did like, I switched over to the 6-4-6-5 set. I was just trying to get like a 9, or I was trying to get the extremes. I think that's all I needed on the tall. I needed a 12 or a 9, and I hit the 9 with that set. But I ended up rolling like 12 rolls with that set before, I got the 9 or the 10, or the 9 or the 12. And of course, I didn't end up making the tall anyway. So,
Yeah. The cross sixes is
but it's just
actually one of
fun.
my favorites also. Because
Yeah, I
it's
think, well,
got
last
sixes
year,
and ones on the primary faces, and you know if you're in a believer of, keeping the dice, I guess, on axis, or at least getting those primary numbers that's on the faces, you can't get the ATS or the extremes without the sixes and ones on there. So if I'm at the casino, most people will actually see me like setting sixes on top or ones on top, just for that fact, because I know it'll hit, the craps numbers.
Yeah, and I mean, like the thing I like about the cross sixes is it's an easy set. You can do it quick. So like if you notice that somebody at the table is like frowning upon you, or like the dealer or one of the boxmen is like, oh, like this guy's setting, like it's a quick set to get into, and it doesn't really matter as long as they're crossing. It doesn't really matter because you've got good numbers on the inside, outside, and on all primaries.
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
so I like those too.
Lisa was
Last
asking
year,
what your highest roll was. She said she missed it. It was his first roll,
oh,
which was a 12, was his highest.
second,
Second roll was a 4, and the third roll he PSO'd.
it was 4 was the first roll, 12 was the middle,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
4, 12.
Yeah,
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 on my end, it like sorts it into which rolls were first, second, third. So it
yeah.
looks a little different on my end.
Well, I'm sure that you'll probably be hosting the majority of the next round, so appreciate you having
Uh,
me. Really
Hopefully not.
appreciate you spending all.
you know, I
Yeah,
I know uh, today was the cutoff, so that's why I was kind of urging
yeah.
people, whoever didn't get their roles, try to, get them out there.
Well, and I told George this too. I mean, if it's possible, I'd be more than happy to host as well. To take some of the burden off. But I know I'm not. I don't know, not vetted yet, I guess.
Oh,
But
yeah, maybe next year, because I know he already announced like who the hosts were for this year. Uh, so any of the shooters can talk to any of those hosts. If they want them to host and stuff like that. So it don't have to be
yeah,
me. I just put myself
right.
out there to help out and get it done, especially today, since I think you're actually the last shooter. I think there was two more that needed to shoot, um, but I haven't seen them put anything up or notify anybody, so I'm not sure if they're gonna make it. But they have, I think, until before midnight. So hopefully,
Yeah.
if they wanna
5
roll,
a.m.
hopefully they roll.
How did Jay-Z end up?
Let me pull up what the rankings are here.
That was like right during my Zoom training for my staff today, so I couldn't watch.
So Jay-Z, his first roll was a 5, second roll was a 9, and the third roll was a PSO.
Oh, nice. Good job, Jay-Z.
So let me enter yours in here. 4, 12.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for the rest of us. Arnell, thanks. You definitely demonstrated you contributed the most amount of time to the hosting, so appreciate you.
I wouldn't say that. I know Brian, Dice Degen, George hosted some people. So I mean, it's still a team effort or community effort.
Yeah.
So here's the
Well,
current
yeah.
rankings. It's showing. I'm not sure if you're watching on YouTube. Let me see where you ended up. So looks like you're in 15th. Your rank is 15th. There was actually a few people that rolled 12s, but I think their other rolls averaged out a little bit higher than yours.
Okay.
So you're in the middle of the pack for your
All
qualifier
right.
round.
I'll chalk that up to making it through the top 16 for now. But
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's great. It's always a fun contest, so I'll be excited to see this move forward and see who the international champion is this year. I
Yeah,
hope
I'm
George can
actually
take over because he's making it.
yeah. I'm actually surprised like some of the people from last year that rolled good or did good wasn't in it.
Yeah, like Lisa, for example, she was number, I don't know what it was. I think she had her first round qualifier was 27, I think it was.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, but then this year I asked her, "Are you going to do it?" And she said, "No, I'm not going to do it." So she gets nervous anytime she comes on the live stream with me. She's like, "Okay, I'm done," because she'll like PSO or something, and like
Oh,
she just feels like judging her. But I say like nobody's judging you. It happens to everybody. It's a
yeah.
you know thing. Like watch Arnold's LFC on Saturday. That happens about 25 times.
Yeah. I do it quite a bit on there. But I don't care
Yeah,
because, what you're seeing me do live once a week, uh, it doesn't actually translate to when I'm shooting at the casino. And
right.
some of the guys I
And that's
played
what happens.
with, that's in the community, they'll tell you. No, I'll
But that,
usually
I mean,
go
that's
there with the intention of, hey, I want to win some money.
yeah, and that's the whole point of the LFCs because you're not always going to walk up to a table with a bunch of shooters, and we all get lucky and we all get unlucky, and it's like
Yeah.
it's about
Well,
the LFCs are about surviving the table.
that just kind of goes to show you, though, like the LFCs, uh, everybody that has their own table and, they're practicing and things like that. And then I go to meet up with, the people that practice and stuff like that, and I get destroyed. Because
Yeah,
I don't have a bankroll like a lot like some of the guys and stuff like that. So so it's tougher for me. When I was used to going solo and having a smaller bankroll, and my wife knows. She's like, you need to get back to playing how you were before you meeting up with, some of the people in the community. And I'm like, you're right. I
right.
gotta go back to how I played like solo, even though I'm meeting up with, people that I know can shoot.
Yep,
Yeah, because it's
right.
tough, with the meetups. I tend to bring more than I normally would, like if I went solo, and that's on me. But I always hope we'll come out on top. But unfortunately,
Right.
last year kind of killed me with all the meetups with everybody. So we'll turn it
Yeah. Well,
around.
sometimes I feel like, if you go with like, corporation or you go with those guys, then they expect you to be there, and stay there with them. So you're just kind of like hanging in and, if you don't have the bankroll to support it, where it's like this, if you go and you're like, oh, I want to make, $300 or $500 or $10,000, whatever your bankroll is or whatever your goal is, then you meet it and you can get out of there instead of feeling
Oh
bad
yeah,
about like,
they
oh, not
they
that
don't
week.
mind. I mean, I've walked away plenty of times when I'm up.
Yeah.
But of course, uh, time is the worst thing if you're staying too long at the casino. So uh,
Right.
that'll get people also if you're staying too long.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna head over to Craft Chat.
Oh yeah,
Thanks again, Arnell, for
Craps
having
chat is
me.
on. So we'll be heading over there too.
And
We'll see what they're talking about. I heard it's supposed to be about tourney play or yeah, craps tournament play. All right, we'll
and
check
then
that out.
I might do a live a little later. I don't know. We'll see. I got everything set up. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah, me, I usually go to sleep early. That's why when you said, oh, maybe we should wait till after Craps chat is done, and I'm like, yeah, that might be a little late for me. I'm usually
Right.
in bed by that time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. Arnell, thanks again, and good luck to everyone on the next round.
All right. We
And thanks,
appreciate
George,
you.
for putting this all together for us.
Yep. Thanks a lot, George, and we'll see everybody in the second round. All right. Have a good night, Scott.
All right. Thanks, Arnell.
Dice climbers, getting hype on the belt. Roll the dice and we delve. Step into the table, ain't limited yourself. Yo, the game's on money long. Jackpot in the palm, bounce off the wall. Got my squad staying calm. Bring your hand, ain't no bell. Like a legend on the stacks, we collecting. Throw it on the street, land zones. Innocent zone, before I watch it like a phone. Dice climbers, popping colors, no fear in the eye. Building empire, striking high as the sky. Heart and soul, let the fur ignite. Victory tonight, if it can be light. Roll that come out, bang, not to spread my fame. Win or lose, gain, confused, ain't no shame to change. Sweat, drips, lip, yeah, they stay the same. Crush, tables, spinning, welcoming rain. Crowd, let's rock out, cheers on the rise. Back door, young dream out loud inside. Chasing, king, they know the sky. Fortune, feeling lit, rolling the dice. Dice climbers, popping colors, no fear in the eye. On fire, building empire, striking high as the sky. Heart and soul, let the fur ignite. Victory tonight, if it can be light. Dice grinders.